Yo, 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 what it do, what it be, y'all? It's your boy, Agent A-N-T, repping the spell block Agency. And today we going to be talking about war in Chiraq, what's happened this year in 2021. And I got bringing to y'all another Call of Duty commentary, of course, as y'all can see. So, 2021 has been just as tragic as any other year in the drill music scene. We lost up-and-comers and major figures just like any other year, but this year saw what may or may not be the beginning of the end for O Block and OTF, and we'll definitely discuss that. But first, RIP again to BCR Measle, who lost his life early in February after he was shot in a hotel room as he was celebrating a recent release of his music. And I kind of discussed his FBG Cash mocking his death, and kind of questioned whether or not Cash or even if Measle and Cash would even have had beef had Duck been alive, and whether or not that situation would have kind of played out differently. But again, with Duck's death, we've seen a lot of back and forth between FBG members, TW members. I mean, Lil Bubba was calling out Cash and FBG, and I mean, it just kind of seemed like there was a lot of dysfunction in that crew after Duck's death. But still been dropping some pretty decent music. As I've said, Cash drops decent music. Dutchy and Young drop consistent here and there. They just haven't dropped any like real like projects. I haven't seen any of their, like, if they've dropped a mixtape, I haven't seen it nowhere. Kind of like 051 Drilla. Like, when Drilla dropped his mixtape, I still can't find it. I mean, you can still download it if you want to, but it's not, like, on any, like, mixtape apps or sites. Whereas, like, Prince Dre from O Block just dropped. I just seen his mixtape on live mixtapes. Like, Prince Dre out here still dropping, and it's pretty decent, too, some of the tracks on there. No cap. But, yeah, so we saw that happen. I kind of discussed that. So we'll see kind of the fallout. We're still witnessing the fallout from FBG Duck's tragic murder, which, again, I'll discuss more details of that. But just 3 days after Measle's death in a separate incident on February 8th, 757 Gunsmoke was killed, allegedly by OTV. And 3 days after Gunsmoke's death on February 11th of this year, Trello from Murdertown was killed. And I haven't heard any reliable sources on who did it, but my guess would be 757 was out trying to get back for Gunsmoke, and they just happened to catch Trello. But that's just my speculation. I don't know for sure. That just would make the most sense to me. But RIP to both. And I've covered those murders in my new generation of drill video earlier this year, but they were still a part of the 2021 timeline because they were, those guys were drill rappers. Trello, they're, what was it? I think they dropped the 69 Dead Ops or something like that. They dropped the Dead Ops with him and it was Trello and somebody else from Murder Town, but it's a pretty decent song actually. It was actually making pretty decent music. We actually seen after Trello's death, we seen members of OTV kind of call out Timo, and we're unhappy with Timo, for kind of not taking him out the hood. Just them being upset over losing a big member like that, and them trying to make sense of it all is really tragic. I mean, I don't think any of them really blamed Timo or anything like that, but a couple of them kind of were sneak dissing him, or it could be construed as them sneak dissing. But again, unfortunately, the losses didn't stop there, as in July, Lil Durk's manager and brother D-Thang was shot and killed outside of a club, and this was a major blow for Durk and the BDs, as D-Thang was really the man behind the scenes of Durk's success, and with Durk having the biggest run of his career, no doubt about it. D-Thing's death is probably going to be even more tragic, because despite managing, or D-Thing's death is even more tragic, because despite managing arguably the biggest rapper in the game, he still had that one little toe dipped in the streets, and it cost him. And he was killed in Harvey, Illinois, just outside of Chicago, after an altercation outside of a club. And this was, like I said, just as big, if not as bigger loss than losing Vaughn. I mean, this was Durk's like literal blood brother, came up with him through everything. And it wasn't really done that I know of by any major ops of like Durk or OTF or none of that. But rumor has it that it was this was actually like get back for some of the dirt D-Thing did before like even the music started to take off, like back when he was like doing dirt with Dog Pound and stuff like that. But we seen this with Big L's killer in New York, and even Alpo in New York. And you know, D-Thing definitely not a rat like Alpo, and didn't kill a major rapper that we know of like Big L's killer. But those three cases that I just mentioned, all three of those guys came back to the same place they used to do dirt, or you know, like they didn't stay away from the place where, you know, people wanted to hurt them the most. And fortunately, it's just, you know, where people will hurt you the most, they will also show you love the most, unfortunately. That's just like Dirk, loved by his block and old block, and a lot of the BDs in the city, a lot of motherfuckers in the city want to hurt him. You know, it's a crazy balance. But I mean, like I said, with Alpo and Big L's killer, it could be 2 days, it could be 20 years for that get back to come. But I mean, it'll try and get you eventually, no matter what. I mean, look at what's happening with Lil Tim and Quando out in Georgia. They are constantly, I mean, from what I've seen since that incident, they're getting arrested. They're getting in shootouts at shows. I mean, people want that name under their belt. There ain't no rule regulations no more. Is, you know, like Kanye saying free Larry Hoover, and I'm sure if Larry Hoover got released, I'm sure there would still be some people he would still be looked at as respected, but somebody wants that name on their belt. You know, nobody's untouchable. I just talked about it in my last, you know, video on the CIA. Motherfuckers can touch a president. You some dude slinging rocks or a rapper, you know, and you put yourself in those places, it's way easier. You know? Especially nowadays, because, you know, dudes make themselves a target. They diss dead guys or align themselves with dudes who diss dead guys, and now they're a target. You know, it happens all too often. We've seen it. Like I said, though, even right before his death, D-Thang was dissing his ops, which is crazy. Because he had all the blessings he could have in life. Got out of the streets, managing the biggest rapper in the game, like I said. Rich beyond belief. You know, beyond his wildest dreams, I guess. But he still couldn't leave them streets alone. And even, let's say even if he did, let's say he never go back to Chicago. Or even Illinois in general. Because of who is he associated with and who he hangs around, this was always going to be the risk. And unfortunately, he paid the price. R.I.P. to D-Thang. You know, that street life, you know, a lot of guys can't quit. You know, that's all they know. No matter how much money they make or, you know, what they do. Always going to be, if that's how you came up and that's all you know and that's what you were raised in, I mean, what else are you going to do? Especially if you came up rapping, dissing dead dudes, and still doing the same shit. I mean, you got rich off of what you was doing. So why stop? You know? And especially now that you're getting money and now you really feeling untouchable, like I said. You know, people make themselves a bigger target. But even then, he was doing dirt back in the day. So that always could have caught back up with him. But like I said, R.I.P.D. thing, that was a big loss to Dirk and his family. My condolences to them and all the dudes who died and all their families, you know. But we lost another drill legend in the beginning of August 1st, as Ide 600 was tragically shot and killed. And he wasn't as active musically or really even in the streets as much as the other members, you know, that we know of. But he still had classic drill songs and verses. You know, Ide's Hami verse and his competition verse and 600, those were dope. Tuka in the Trash Can and War were predecessors. Well, I mean, at least War was. Tuka in the Trash Can was kind of came a little bit after that. That's more recent. But War, I mean, that was a predecessor to some of the really personal and disrespectful lyrics that we see in modern drill today. And then on the east side, we lost KTS Dre, who was the brother of KTS Vaughn. He was killed coming out of, I believe it was Cook County, I want to say. But he was getting out late at night, and they just lit his car up with 64 shots. And did him super dirty. But KTS Dre was also very disrespectful towards NLMB and all of his ops. So I mean, just another cycle, you know. Doesn't make it any less tragic, because like his mom had posted on Facebook that he couldn't have a funeral service or even an open casket just because, you know, that's how many times he was hit. But I mean, he lived that life, you know. But I mean, it's gonna be something to see, or something to keep an eye on, to see if KTS can make it through this one, as they lost pretty much one of their biggest members, one of their oldest members. And I mean, it's not like KTS is a small set. Everybody thinks they are, but really they are a set clicked up with Lakeside and Black Mob, who I mean, NLMB of course is the biggest set on the east side just because of, you know, the popularity and all that. But I mean, Lakeside and Black Mob been giving them hell for years, despite having you know, less members. And I mean, they're a lot more structured than NLMB is now, I guess. With a lot of the OGs being on to, like, you know, managing Herb's career, and Lil Bibby and all them moving on to like more legitimate ventures. But I mean, it's not like NLMB, and I mean, they've still been going to war. Like I talked about, NLMB was at a war with the Vice Lords in that area. They were there at war with some of the Latin Kings, Lakeside, Black Mob. I mean, NLMB has a lot of enemies over there, and especially with, you know, KTS Dre getting killed, there's going to be a lot more. That war is not going to end anytime soon, unfortunately. And so, at the end of August, though, we lost Lil Duke, who again was around during that 2012, 2015 era of drill. And he allegedly killed Two Cups or Mensa from PBG TFG, who is Young Pappy's best friend. He's the one that the Two Cups mixtape is named after, but apparently PBG and TFG finally caught up with Lil Duke. And I mean, Lil Duke, as of late, within the last couple of years, was trying to get away from like the diss music and the drill music. I mean, I'm sure he was still an active member, of Day Day World. I mean, and all that. But I mean, he was trying to get away from the dissing and all that. He was trying to make more legitimate music, or you know, more not drill music, I should say. You know, more mainstream kind of sounding, I guess. But fortunately, he didn't, you know, live to see that. But yeah, R.I.P. to Lil Duke. And you know, as a young Pappy fan, I'm not a fanboy or anything like that. Like, I understand after when I was first getting into it, I'm like, man, fuck Lil Duke. But I'm like, bro, I don't know these guys, bro. Like, I don't know them personally. Like, they would probably rob me, or, you know, if I came to as a fan or something, you know, like, that's what a lot of people do. Like, oh, like, you a fan? Like, yeah, I am a fan of the music. Like, I'm not in these wars personally. So I mean, R.I.P. to Lil Duke, man. I mean, you were a op to one of my favorite drill rappers, but I mean, that doesn't make your death any less tragic. And I mean, that, like I said, that Go Crazy song with Young Gino, I mean, even though it's a diss song, that shit it literally go crazy. They flow on that back-to-back flow they do on that shit, stupid. But yeah, that was August, and that was actually one day later after Lil Duke was killed on August 25th. Zell Munna from O Block committed suicide. And this was a major blow, as Zell was close to Jado, who was killed, I believe, a year or two ago by TW, allegedly. And Zell was also close to Big Woney, who's, you know, he's trying to become the next O Block rapper. He's not very good, in my opinion. I mean, he could get better. But, I mean, he's looked at as more of a meme right now in the drill culture. But he was really close to those O Block shorties, those up and coming guys. You know, they might be shorties, but they really bout it. And Zell was actually building up his name. He had just dropped a track with Big Woney, and it might have been C Thang, might have been somebody else. But yeah, they all were just starting to get on their rap shit, and they actually had just dropped a song, I believe, after Duck's murder. And this is actually when everything kind of started to take place, because after Duck was killed, they dropped this song. And then Zell commits suicide after the song. And then right after, seemingly like not even a week after Zell committed suicide, the federal agents swept O Block. And, you know, there was rumors. Yeah, I don't know which video it was, but I said this in one of my past videos that, you know, after the Ducks killing, and even a little bit before that, feds were watching feds were posted on O Block. They was watching. The feds was watching. Vaughn knew. Vaughn was rapping about it. I mean, Dirk's been kind of rapping about it. I mean, but, and even mentioning it, kind of, I think he mentioned it in an interview too, saying something like, just trying to make as much music and get as much money before, you know, the feds come, which, bro, they coming. And I mean they may not be coming for you now, but dog, it's looking rough. And even, you know, Durkio stands, they I don't know how they gonna defend this one, bro. Like, yeah, Dirk survived a lot in this Chiraq shit, but man, you survive. It's one of two ways, bruh. You going out in one box or another. and so kind of what I mean by that is Fed swept O Block and caught up 4 members, or actually 4 O Block members and 1 member of Dipset, from the report, I could say, including C-Thang and Muwap from O Block, who was actually, he was Vaughn's like best friend, top shooter, besides maybe like T-Roy, HK, and all the guys who weren't there anymore. But Muwap was Vaughn's closest friend getting out. And yeah, especially because Muwap and probably like DQ and all them were actually teaching the shorties, you know, the rules of the game and all that. So Vaughn was like, okay, y'all were holding it down while I was locked up, cool. But with Muap being there the night Vaughn got killed, and then, being on social media heavily after Duck was killed, and all that money being flashed, and the flights to Atlanta. That's paper trail, man. And now, not only do they got them on capital murder charges for Duck, because apparently they might have him on camera or something, and with the social media posts maybe, but they've rolled out the RICO charges. And once the feds roll out the RICO, that's 97% conviction rate. Now, they was already going to get him on the capital murder charge. That's life. RICO charges, that's even more life. That's multiple life sentences. This could go one of two ways. And this is the one way that, it usually goes is one guy's going to talk. At least one. One guy is going to drop all of it, drop all the knowledge. He's going to be dropping dimes, quarters, all that. He's putting dudes away. And if the dude who talks mentions Dirk's name, or, mentions how, that's how he got the money and all this, bruh, Dirk isn't going to be in some trouble. This is just purely speculation of how, I see this going. Two, nobody talks. This is the biker gang rule. Nobody talks, everybody walks. Not in this case, because this is RICO charge. So 5 motherfuckers ain't walking. If nobody talks, these dudes is getting life no matter what. And then if they go and nobody else says anything to anybody, and that's it. Plain and simple. These guys are gonna just serve their life sentences and be cool. Unless one dude, like I said, decides to talk. Says, hey, what can y'all offer me? I am not trying to spend the rest of my life in prison or jail. Yeah. That's gonna be and if they start, okay, well this happened at this point in time, this could possibly lead to the biggest rap trial since the Big Meech case, in my opinion. This is gonna be somewhere on the spectrum of GS9 and the BMF case. This is somewhere in between. This is probably more closer to GS9, because even if they get Dirk and Dirk don't talk, Dirk might only serve, a few years, 10 years, something like that. If they can't implicate him in none of it, because it's not like Dirk was out here masked up, out here getting him gone. But if one person is like, oh yeah, no, this is how I got the money, I got this bread because he paid me for this hit. Oh, Dirk, bruh. A lot of variables when snitching, and what they can negotiate for, and what they're going to tell. And it's going to be interesting to see what comes out in the courtroom and what evidence the feds present against Muwap and C-Thing and Kenny Mack. And apparently Zell was one of the shooters and was supposed to be picked up, but that whole situation happened, unfortunately. But yeah, ask Murder Inc. All it takes is one, like I've been saying. And it's like I said, it's gonna be somewhere. This ranks somewhere between BMF and GS9, because Dirk and them definitely bigger than GS9 at this point. And the feds was watching GS9 for years. It just so happened that Bobby's come up was their downfall. And feds, I feel like haven't been watching Lil Durk and them for that long. Not as long as GS9, but and that's probably, and I was talking to my boy, this is probably why they did the RICO Act, because they're like, bruh, we don't know if we didn't lock these dudes up if they was gonna see, cause everybody around Dirk dying. D-Thing gone, all everybody around him just so happy, I'm not saying he's cursed or nothing, but with that street life, you lose a lot, bruh. Chino, Vaughn. I mean, the list goes on. But I mean, this could be the biggest challenge that OTF faces, and it's not from main opposition or nothing like that. It's from them boys. So yeah, we'll see what's popping with it. Like I said, it's gonna be these next 2022 is gonna be an interesting year, at least for the drill scene and how all this shakes out. And I'll definitely be doing update videos as information comes out. But yeah, that's pretty much. I mean, those are the two ways I see it going. Somebody going flip, or all 5 of these dudes is getting life, no matter what. So if not, then 4 of these dudes is getting life. One of them is gonna do maybe 15 years and do, you know, get that Alpo treatment. May not come to 2 days, maybe 20 years, bro. But you rap, bro, and especially if you go back, it's gonna be crazy, you know. But that's I mean, I expect nothing less from this scene when I started covering it. That's why I started covering it, because anything can happen at any time, man. But I mean, R.I.P. Duck, R.I.P. Brick, all the fallen dudes that have lost their lives in the war. And I mean, I feel for Lil Durk and D-Thang and their family for their loss. But I mean, and Durk definitely going through it right now. I don't know if he's sweating bullets, but I definitely would be. But like I said, we'll see how it all shakes out, and I'll be doing update videos on it all 2022 probably. And I'll still be doing the timeline videos. And I lost my phone, so all the pictures and like screenshots I had saved of like stories and like old shit gone. So I can't even do like old like how set started, or even like Tuka Day 2011 like I was planning. Oh well, you know, maybe one day I'll get that data back somehow, some way, but I highly doubt it. But yeah, hope y'all enjoyed the video. Y'all been a long one, but I figured it's been a minute. I'm doing these videos every like 6 months, so I might as well drop just a heap of info at the same time on y'all. Keep y'all invested. But yeah, this is gonna be one of my last videos of 2021, so I hope y'all enjoy. Definitely, like I said, be doing more varied content on different platforms, like on Twitch, Patreon in the future. Stay tuned for all that. I'm gonna be dropping all of my social media on every platform and trying to link them all up. So yeah, that's kind of my goal. I'm gonna be networking a lot more in 2022, so stay tuned. It's been your boy Agent A&T, repping the Spell Block Agency. Yeah, be safe out here, y'all. Don't get smoked. And yeah, RIP all the fallen guys, man. It's been a while. Been 10 years. No, literally 2011, 2012 is when all this shit really started to catch the public's eye. And I mean, I've talked about DJ Academics and all that, and why he kind of, you know, rubs me the wrong way, but still used to watch his videos because that was the only thing really presenting shit. But now I feel like I could do it better, and feel like I have. So yeah, be safe out there, y'all. Like I said, and you see me out here going crazy, holding down one area of the map on my rat shit. Look, I see him all scanning over here. Look, ow, I see you. Look, pop out. Out here killing him. Yeah. Look at that, times 7. Y'all can't touch me, y'all. Called in like 3-4 spy planes, all that. That's what I does with the dub. But yeah, I'm gonna definitely miss this game.